All right. I accidentally disconnected my mic, which broke the connection, so I'm not going to touch this anymore. I apologize for that, guys. Hopefully we can get this going again. So, hopefully people will come back up relatively soon. I apologize for anyone who had to make the transition. But what we were talking about a little bit was learning to be a little bit more fluid in our thinking, learning to be a little bit, this thing's gonna need a little work. We're gonna need a little work with this. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. It looks like you guys can hear me though by the microphone. But what I was trying to say was that there is a part of life, in your personal life, in your morals, in your professional, that you need to have a certain part of I don't give a fuck, a certain amount of that. What that amount is varies by individual, varies by job, but there is a certain amount of I don't give a fuck that you need to have, really. And so, what this is a very unintelligent way of putting this, but as someone earlier mentioned, you have to be able to care about the things worth caring about, and on top of that, that you can have an impact on, and not care about the things that aren't caring about, that you don't care about, and you can't have an impact on. So that was sort of my starter to this section. And I already we already talked about this in the other video, but does anyone have any questions? I know we just lost like 30 or 40 people, but I was leading up to let's take some questions. So that, other than about the essential oil diffuser, which I'm rocking. I gotta be careful not to knock this out again. There's really no benefit to me using this, so I think since it's a little bit more finicky, I'll probably just use the live one. Yeah, and I'm guilty of this as well. So a lot of times, I think when you're giving advice or you're talking about things like this, because that's really the channel is an infotainment channel, and part of the channel is to be advice oriented. And sometimes when you give advice, you can talk about you can come off as a know-it-all, as somebody who doesn't understand, doesn't preach what they practice, and most of these topics are things that I've learned the hard way, things that I wish I knew earlier. So any advice? How much can you bench? Not very much. I could probably today bench like 70 pounds, but give me like 2 weeks, I'll be up to 100, and then 2 weeks after that, I'll be up to like maybe 125, 150. I haven't been working out at all, so probably not very much. I keep trying to teach myself React, but I just keep falling off. And have any advice? Yes, create a schedule, stick to it, grind it out, and just make sure you stick to your schedule. A lot of times people don't have any schedules. Every morning I wake up and I spend about an hour to 2 hours working on stuff. It's just part of my schedule. I need to do that for the gym also. I need to figure out a schedule for the gym, stick to it, and continue to do it. After the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's just part of your life. It's much easier. You just gotta stick to it. And it's something that I'm struggling with right now. I am not as hungry as I once was, and it's something that I find very strange. Something that I don't know what to do for it. I have do I still work hard at work? Of course I do, but it's outside of work where I've always really prided myself as an individual. It's doing the extra stuff, because the extra stuff, everyone's working a job. It's the extra stuff that gets you to that next level in your career, right? And it was much easier There's like a piece of something floating in my water. It's disgusting. I'm gonna dig my hand in here and get it. All right. Um, there is so everyone's working a job, and it's the extra hours outside of work. So I used to, up until about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, put 3 to 4 hours a day in on various things, side projects, watching videos, going to meetups, so on and so forth. And right now, I'm not as hungry as I once was. I am spending about 1 to 2 hours a day between YouTube, between coding. I'm trying to go to more meetups, but I haven't really committed to that. I'm reading. So one of the things that I'm trying to counteract that is I'm trying to do it different, make it fun. So I'm reading books. I just finished the Complete Software Developer's Career Guide. Is 800 pages. I have, speaking of, someone's asking how to get better with JavaScript algorithms. You can go to sites like CodeFights and practice there. I also recommend Cracking the Coding Interview, which is another book I bought, which I'm going to start playing around with a bit. But it's a strange place to be in my life because I don't have any hobbies anymore. This is something I realized recently is for the last 3 years, I've been so much in the grind that I don't really have any hobbies. And I don't have any friends here, to be honest with you. It's just April and me. And which I'm fine. I'm a solitary creature. So if I don't have and one of the things I love about moving across country is being able to isolate myself so that I can focus on that, but I'm not focusing. I have 2 to 3 hours a day where I'm just kind of watching YouTube now. And that's upsetting. So I'm in a very strange transition period where I have to figure that out. And I feel like the reason I bring this up is not to talk about myself, but because I think a lot of people can get content, and especially after they get some experience and life gets too easy, or however you want to put it. Like in terms of the one stress that a lot of people never eliminate from their mind is money. And so if that's a lot of people's biggest stress in life, for me, all right, I'm good. I'd like to make more money, but in terms of money being something that stresses me out anymore, no longer a factor. Never felt better. All right, so I encourage you all to get to that point in your life. And it comes through not only just being paid well, but also comes from making great financial decisions. 0 debt between April and I. Cars paid off. No credit card debt. Credit scores. We just making smart choices, right? Not like we always have been, but in the last 5 to 6 years, great. Got money in the bank, all that good stuff. So there's a certain level of contentness. Contentness? Is that a word? Content? We're going to say it's a word. Contentness that, like the feeling of being content. Contentness. So I'm still working 1 to 2 hours a day, but I'm not working 3 to 4 hours a day, which is what I wanted to do till 2020. So I gave myself 5 years or so. That's 5 years of working 3 to 4 hours a day. And it's a very, very strange thing to have your goals, know what you want to do, know what it takes, and still fall short. And going and still fall short and realize that you're not doing as much as you can. So the reason I bring it up is that if you find yourself in that, how I'm trying to solve it, I can't say this is going to work 100%, but how I'm trying to solve that feeling of complacement is I am changing it up. I am changing up in several different ways. I'm also trying to be very conscious of what I'm trying to do with my life. And so health is something I'm going to focus on a little bit because I think part of it is I just feel unhealthy and it's hard to put in the hours I want also. So if you're feeling like that, change it up a little bit, but let's enough about that. Let's go ahead and answer some more questions. I'm learning JavaScript. So far, so good. I've heard there are a lot of bad parts. Can you elaborate on that? topic a bit. Yeah, so JavaScript's unique in the fact that JavaScript was written in 10 days. And so it's come a lot farther than it has before. But there are some strange things in JavaScript that languages a little bit more thought out would not have. Falsy values are a great example of this, where an empty string would be a falsy value. Where an array type of array is object. Very sort of things that you wonky things in JavaScript as a part of the language. And that's a lot of what people don't like about it, that there's dynamic types instead of being a statically typed language. And TypeScript's trying to help solve that a little bit. But there are a lot of things in JavaScript. Now, with all that being said, JavaScript's an excellent language to get started with. And as to learn, part of the reason why is because it's the most common language used. Like it is an excellent language to learn because a ton of companies are working it. The majority of jobs are in web development, and the majority of web development is in JavaScript, at least in the front end. So that's why it's excellent. Do I have two different colored eyes? So I do. They are both blue, and so this one it looks like is darker, and this one is lighter. So for those of you who don't know, I got laser eye surgery, and I've always had two different color eyes, but a lot of people have been commenting on it. And so I got laser eye surgery, and they basically scraped my eye, and this eye is a little bit lighter than it was before. So I've always had two different ones, but it seems to be more noticeable ever since I've had laser eye surgery. It might be because I'm not wearing my glasses because I don't need them anymore. But something to keep in mind. I like that you don't want to get complacent. Keep it up. Yeah, you need to be aware of your surroundings and aware of you and what it is that you want to accomplish, right? So how many of us want certain things in life, and we just say, I'm going to work hard. That's a shitty way. That's a shitty plan. And so you need to sort of keep yourself accountable. And not only that, you need to have an actual game plan to how to get there. So I say 2018, what is it that I want to accomplish? Well, I want my salary to increase. I want to be better educated. I want to have a better portfolio. How am I going to do that? I'm going to read books, go to meetups, go to conferences. I'm going to network. And then I start saying, what books am I going to read? I have a list of books. What courses am I going to do? I have a list of courses. What conferences am I going to go to? I buy the conferences tickets. I set up plans, all that sort of stuff. So when you say that you want goals, don't just say it. Act on it. Create a game plan and work towards that game plan. Currently doing a web programming course in college. It's only 2 weeks on JavaScript. Yeah. Welcome to college. Where the courses don't matter and you don't learn shit, but you still get a degree so you can get over that HR firewall. I'm realizing how much effort it takes doing the Treehouse Tech degree now, and thinks it's a hard time. Yeah, it's coding is something that is this is what's so strange about software is when you're just getting started, it's about understanding how to be a software developer. Now, as you move on, it's not about how to code and everything like that. It's about how well do you know a framework, how well do you know the language, and go from there. That's really it. And then it's just about expanding the skill set out and becoming more and more familiar with the tools. And I would say that's probably what's happening with me right now in my life is I don't really code anything super complex. I don't code anything that there has never been a project in the last 2 years I've been a developer or so where someone said, hey, we need you to do this. And then I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know how to do that. No, it's all right. Yeah, I can do that. No problem. Like, now it could be, I don't know how to do that in the amount of time that you want. like I can do all this. Can I do it in a week? Probably not. So that's interesting. Bitcode with the $5. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I saw your comment on the free code camp video I guessed it on. I appreciate the support, dude. I hope life has been treating you well. Do you feel you're lacking in outside encouragement? That is probably common for most people. No, I do not. So I find a lot of encouragement from subscribers. Um, Even though on a large platform you're always going to get a certain amount of hate. I get comments on a regular basis, hating on me and just being rude and nasty. And then, but I would say 99% of people are very supportive, and it's very encouraging that that's the case. So, um, did you ever get around to finishing free code camp? I finished the front end cert, and I finished pretty much all of the microservices and the React projects that are on beta. So there wasn't really anything left for me to do. I never did the full stack application, so it's just too much time. Too much time, not enough reward. Why did I have laser eye surgery? So I could see. The type of surgery I needed for my one eye here was just $400. So it was completely affordable, and it's soft. I would save the money for paying for. I'd save the money just in. That's what I'm looking for. Just in eye exams and glasses. So $400, can't beat that. Yeah. Good for you, Marcos. Have I looked at Codecademy's new course on Alexa? I know they have a new course on Alexa. I haven't gone to it. I would. So here's my thing. Although I would love to code something for Alexa, my entire house has Google Homes. My entire apartment has Google Home and two or three Google Home Minis. So, no, two Google Home Minis. So I have three things with Google Home Mini, and so it's kind of like, where's the Google Home code, man? I'll probably get around to making something. I like to play around in things. I'm getting kind of bored of Angular, just because I do it all the time at work. So I'm thinking I'm going to start picking up something new. That might be something that's also something that I'm not 100% committed to. I started recently learning. I bought a course that I started like 3-4 days ago. That involves me learning Solidity. I forget what it is, but the Ethereum contracting language. So I'm working through that course slowly but surely, and going from there. So I could learn Vue. Here's the thing: I don't want to learn a framework, a JavaScript framework, and go from there. So it's just one framework to another. It's I'd rather learn something different, and I think that might be what I do here. Backpage was seized today. What would you do if your company's website was seized? Oh my god, panic. I don't have any good advice for that. Thank you so much, James, for the support though. How's Western Governors University? I dropped out 3 weeks ago. How many lines of code do you write in a typical day? Well, since I do front-end web development, I don't know if you count HTML as lines of code, and it depends on the day. In a real productive day, where it depends on the day. It depends on the day. Every day is different. If I had to give a guess, somewhere between 100 to 300. But you're building models, you're building services. Going from there. What was on your portfolio and how much? That's a question that's hard to answer. I can tell you about 60% of my time spent writing code. I think that's a better answer for what you're asking, because lines of code vary, right? If you write a lot of lines of code, you're probably doing a shitty job, because the fewer the lines, typically the better, and the more simplistic and easier to understand your code. Is free code camps designed for ambiguity? Once it's time to build projects, feels like you're being thrown at us wild. I think so, but it's very hard to hold your hand through a project, and you have other resources to help you out. But that's sort of, I think they're trying to emulate the real world to the best of their ability. That would be my understanding. And honestly, there's very few places that ever tell you to build projects, and I think they give you a good idea. And on the beta, they actually guide you a little bit more. So whenever they release that, I think it might be a little bit more helpful. How can I memorize what I learn, like functions, arrays, etc.? Practice, practice, practice. Do it every day, every single day. Use it every day, and then eventually it becomes second nature. Yeah, dropped out. I'm a Python person thinking doing deep flash string. I don't know aspects since starting to start going along with other tools. I don't know about that either. Is data analysis job good? Yep, one of the best. Why did I drop out? It's a combination of a few things. One, it was making me miserable. That was absolutely number one. Two, I felt as if I was paying $1,000 for a Udemy course, which made me really upset. So that was something I was not super happy about. But most importantly of all, I felt like it wasn't the best utilization of my time. I felt like the amount of time that I was putting into it, it wasn't hard. And in 2 months or so, 2.5 months, no, in what was it? I did 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. So what is that? 8 weeks. In 8 weeks or 2 months, I'd finished 3 courses, something like 13 units, and I had 2 other courses I had started. So, but I felt at the end of it that if I took the time, built courses, if I took the time, went to conferences, I took the time, wrote a book, all these sort of things, that I would enjoy it a lot more and it would have a better impact on my career. That was what it was. But also it was miserable reading stuff that you knew was wrong, but you had to memorize to answer the questions on the test. And it was really kind of soul crushing. It was just a rehashing of everything I hated about college in the first place. But it was not tough going to school and working at all. I just took my 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours after work, and I applied it to school. And that might be something that caused me to lose a little bit of my rhythm, a little bit of my grind. Is changing it up to the point where I'm going back to school and doing these things. I don't know if that was the case and causing me to lose a little bit of my fire, but I can tell you it definitely affected me. I struggled with deciding to drop out. Yes, you did, baby. April supported me thoroughly, but I did struggle. James with $5 says, I hate to admit it, but the Codecademy paid 10-week program, you may do another one, holds me accountable. Some people need that. And that's part of, so I have a very controversial video talking about should you drop out of college. This is something people ask me all the time. Whenever I get like emails, it's always people in college, super unhappy, trying to understand if this is the right path for them. And so it's about a 17-minute video. It's pretty long, but I sort of give you my mentality about it and explain to you. And one of the things I talk about is some people need that very structured environment because they need to be held accountable. One thing that happens, and a lot of people might disagree until they've put in that situation. But when you are given freedom, because that's what it is, you're essentially given freedom to act and do and learn how you see fit, and no one's going to hold you accountable. If you want to fucking wake up, hit that fucking bong, keep hitting it, fucking pop in Call of Duty and not do anything all day, you can do that. There's no teacher in class going to say, hey man, you're doing bad on your test. You're not paying any money to go to college and do all this. You can do that. You may not accomplish what your goals and dreams are, and you may have issues with it, but you can do that. But a lot of times when you get that freedom, when you get that extra oomph, what happens is you don't know how to handle it. It's the truth. It's kind of like people who have lived in like very traditional families, and then they finally go to college, and before you know it, they're doing like gangbangs and and orgies and on all sorts of drugs, and they like, because they've never been able to have that freedom, and they just sort of come wild and it's kind of crazy. But a lot of times, not to say James is out there having orgies and things, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes you need that accountability. And for a lot of people, when you're like, look, I just threw $300 down on this, you best believe I'm not wasting that $300. That's really what I was trying to say. I don't know why I went with orgies and stuff, but you get what I'm trying to say. How's my C# journey going? Not very well. I did 3 C# courses, and then I haven't had a chance to do any at work. I just kept getting front end work, and so here we are. What should I learn to be a professional data analysis? I'm not really qualified to answer that question, but probably something like Python, R, TensorFlow, all that sort of stuff. Marco says, take care, Dylan. As much as I like to stay and listen, I have to get back to my coding class. I want to be where you are. I appreciate that, man. I can appreciate wanting to be where I'm at. And I want to be somewhere who's above me, right? I want to be on like Quincy's level. I want to be on John Sonmez's level. I want to be on Engineer Truth's level. I want to be in like, and then when I get there, I want to be somewhere else. Yeah. So always have a goal in mind. Have you ever thought about starting a business based on creating websites for small business? No. There's very little to no money in creating anything for small businesses. That has already been monopolized by things like WordPress, Squarespace, Wix. That's what all that's about. Those content management systems, those are the business small websites. That's what they're there for. Yeah, so I have no interest in that. One second, guys. I have to use the bathroom. Little boy's room. I'll be right back. Dylan, I have to take Visual Basic in college. Jesus Christ. Why? Should I learn C# after the class is over? C# would be an excellent language to learn, as well as JavaScript. Let's see here. Then we got the human going hard. I've been learning JavaScript, but it seems there's way more .NET jobs in my area. Should I stick with JavaScript or .NET for a better shot at getting a job? Well, JavaScript will be good for the front end. .NET will be really good for the back end and middleware and all that sort of stuff. So you can learn both, although it might be a little hard when you're just starting out. Do I have to read books about JavaScript while I'm learning Free Code Campus? So what books do you recommend? I don't. I only recommend soft skill sort of books. The most recent book I read, I think there's a link in the description as well if you want to help the brother out with some affiliate money, is Simple Programmer's book or John Sonmez's Complete Software Developer's Career Guide. I think technical books, for the most part, are a waste of time. What do you think about professors that are professors that are outdated teaching outdated coding classes? I think it's a crime. I think you should absolutely, when you're paying good money and you're supposed to be teaching skills. This is the thing with college. 9 out of 10 degrees aren't teaching any skills. When you're teaching a computer science class, when you're teaching a software development class, you need to be teaching current things, and that's one of my biggest issues with college. So I think it's a crime. I think, honestly, schools should even be sued for it. Whether anyone's going to do it, it's another thing, right? But it is disgusting. What are the best items to include in portfolio projects? Something that's unique, something that includes in-demand frameworks, uses APIs. Can you elaborate more on my internship experience? Yeah, if you want. I've only had one internship ever. It was for a company called Dolly Web Design in Rancho Santa Margarita, which was 2 hours away from where I was living. And so back when I was developing my plan to drop out of college and go and become a developer, I said, all right, step one before I drop out, go and get a internship. So the very first I applied for internships and eventually got one by posting my resume on Craigslist. And someone was like, hey, we're looking for a summer intern, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hell yeah, let's go. So I took the internship where I was working at this web design shop. It was a 2-hour drive there, 2-hour drive back. I basically did a bunch of content management, a little bit of HTML, a little bit of CSS, and that was pretty much it at the end of the day. And after 3 months or so, they hired me to do some freelance. I started making $12 an hour. Then they hired me for freelance for about 3 months or so for $20 an hour. And then that was it. That was my internship. It was doing content management, WordPress, HTML, CSS. That was it, though. It wasn't anything super exciting. It wasn't really all that valuable. No disrespect to the people there. I appreciated them very much, but I didn't learn anything. And that was one of the things. I remember I did like my exit interview, if you will. And I think they were a little bit offended when I said I didn't feel like I learned anything. Which is, but really I was just there to get the resume experience, so I was okay with that, right? Got a letter of recommendation, got a little bit of money, got a little bit of resume experience. All those things helped to get to me where I am, so I am grateful for the opportunity. How search for skills in your area efficiently rather than shifting through job postings? What else do you want, dude? The job postings are exactly what people are looking for. Say you want to be a front-end developer in Tampa, Florida. Look at the front-end developer roles for a week in Tampa, Florida, and see what's there. Just in that area. There's not going to be that many. There might be for a week 50. And go from there. Now that finishing college is one of your goals. What's your goal for this year? I want to go to at least one conference. I want to continue to work on the YouTube channel. I don't really have any courses I want to build at this time. I might build more down the road, maybe an algorithm course because I'm going to be reading Cracking the Coding Interview. But reading more books, I've actually changed up my learning pattern a little bit where I'm watching a 30-minute talk. 30, some are 10, some are 60 minutes on Coding Tech, which is an excellent YouTube channel. I've started doing this week, and I'm very happy with that. They have basically all the conferences that people go to, give talks and things like that. They have them up on their channel, and I watch about a 30-minute one at the longest because I show up 30 minutes early for work, and I go from there. I also am looking into building blockchain as well as release my very first web application. I would like to write a book as well. So those are the goals this year. Those are the goals right now. Could you say something about MVC, Model View Controller? I know the concept of it. I just haven't gotten to the practical implementation where to start. Thank you. So MVC is sort of the modern architecture for a lot of front-end applications and even back-end applications. And so the model is essentially your data model. The view is the template, how it's going to look, and the controller is your logic a lot of times. And so the controller manipulates the data of the model and sends it to the view. And so that's really it at the end of the day. You have models, which are how your data is supposed to be, right? You have views, which are your templates, your HTML documents, and how it's rendered. And then you have the controller, which takes the model data, does some stuff with it in the logic, and then sends it to the view so that it can be rendered and so that it can do that, right? So a very basic example is, say you have a user object that keeps track of, is a user logged in? It's a Boolean, right? Is logged in, true or false? And then that data from the model, this is your structure. The data is now in your controller, and it's sending. It says, okay, cool. Controller, maybe we do something with it. We set a variable that says logged in instead of true, right? Doesn't make sense. We want to say logged in, and then bam, in your view, it gets that data. It gets the controller, tells the view, say, hey, have this user say logged in. That's it. That's a very, very basic example. That's the gist of it. Huh. .NET seems to be getting big. .NET is definitely exploding. C# is an excellent language to learn. Mean stack developer still viable? Of course it is. Node is actually so there's more jobs in .NET, but is it viable? Absolutely. Node is one of those things where it's actually being picked up a lot for Ethereum contracting and blockchain. So. But it would be an excellent idea looking at C# specifically .NET. Is your quiz app put on hold? I don't know what I want to do for the back end of the quiz app. This is the issue I'm having. And I've lost a little bit of steam, but it is in development. But yeah, sort of put on hold as I'm sort of figuring things out, but it is not something that is dead at all. Yo, I washed my hands, mofo. Someone asked me for my email. I'll type it in the chat here. There you go. It's in chat. All right. How are you not on engineer's truce level? Just YouTubing me? Yeah, a little bit of the YouTube grind, a little bit of that hustle. I'm just talking about people more successful than myself, people I want to be like, and folks like. He also does a lot of things better than I do when it comes to YouTube. He does a lot of things better than I do in life. He is excellent with fitness. He exercises daily. He goes to conferences. He does a lot of things behind the scenes to become the person he wants to be, and I want to be a little bit more like that. There are a lot of traits that people can have, good and bad, that you can admire, right? How many conditions are too many when using the ternary operator? The legal limit is 2. You have 2 conditions for the ternary operator. After that, you have some fucking spaghetti code. Get that shit out of here. That's it. All right. I noticed in a lot of videos you stress we should think like a developer when looking at a problem. Can you explain what that means? Yeah, it means quite a few things, depending on what video. But in general, what it means is breaking a problem down into the smallest pieces and then building out each individual piece one by one and seeing how they connect. So a very basic example is a lot of people get overwhelmed when they open up a text editor. Earlier we were talking about the free code camp project seems so overwhelming, right? I don't know how for beginners how we get started. And it's because you're looking at a completed project and you're saying, oh my God, how do I get it here? When in reality, what you need to look is like, how do I get the heading there? And you start thinking, I have an H1 tag, right? I know, I remember this heading thing. How do I put text on a page? Even if you don't remember headings, you say, how do I put text on a page in HTML? And you start breaking out piece by piece by piece. So start breaking your problems down. And I honestly think this is an excellent way to look at life a lot of times. Start breaking your problems down analytically into the smallest pieces so that you can succeed. And that's what I really mean when I start saying think like a developer. So what the doc type, you actually put the dollar sign in the backticks are actually supposed to be outside of the curly braces. And you did one on the last thing. It doesn't matter. But just anyhow, in case anyone's looking at that, so what's that? Well, half of that was done right. Half of that was done wrong. It doesn't matter because what the doc type is an excellent name and it makes up for it. Sounds like we have a lot to catch up on. Let's talk soon. Yeah, for sure. I still owe you a video. You came on the channel and I never released a video, and I feel guilty about it. So, come up with a video topic. And if you want, Christian, let's do it. Let's do a video on the channel. Dab. That's it. Is that a dab? So apparently, dabbing is just where you hit yourself in the forehead and look down with your bicep or forearm. That's about it. That's all I got. Why do you quit the CS degree recently? I just talked about that maybe 10 minutes ago. It's in here. This video will be up if you want to see that. If you had a business degree, would it be worth going to WGU for CS or SC starting a career? So I would never recommend anyone going back to college. I don't think it's worth it. You have a degree, you already checked that box. Now you just need the skills. That's the truth of the matter. So that's my personal advice on that. I think you'd benefit better by going to a boot camp, honestly, if you need that structured learning path. How good should someone be at JavaScript before they move on to Angular? You should be able to work with the language. You should know array functions, string methods, number methods, how to use them, basic. You just have to know the language at the end of the day. Angular, React, those things, they're used for DOM manipulation. So what do you think about internships wanting to pay minimum wage? I think if you're desperate, you take them, and immediately on day one, you still start applying to other jobs elsewhere. That's what I think. Loyalty isn't bought with minimum wage, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, sometimes it's better to get the experience than nothing at all. Thank you. Inspired me to learn JavaScript. You're the best. Thank you, man. Thank you, Yusuf. How many different companies have you worked for in what time frame? Professionally, not counting my internship. I worked for 6 months for Dolly Web Design as an intern, essentially. After that, I worked for 9 months at a student information system company that wrote software like Blackboard or Moodle. For 9 months as a technology trainer, you can kind of think technical writer with a mixture of business analyst. And then I worked a year for a defense contractor writing software. And now I've worked 8 months for a multi-level marketing health and fitness company. So whatever that added up to. Any cool conferences in Florida this year? Not till later in the year. I'm gonna have to check it out. But web forms are a pain. Yeah, don't do web forms. Gotta go to the resource, learn data structures. Honestly, cracking the coding interview is probably gonna help me with that because I'm not the best with data structures either. How long does it take you to learn JavaScript? Everyone's different. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. Where do you see the future of web dev going? I don't know. This is something I think about from time to time. We've had some consolidation. I see JavaScript continue to evolve, which will be nice, which means that we're going to need transpilers or compilers. I see TypeScript continue to be great. I see the swing to React, which I think is going to swing back to Angular. I could be wrong. But really, I don't know. I see JavaScript just getting a little bit more mature every year. Do you need to learn computer science topics like big O notation to be a web developer? No. You might need it for some technical interviews. I know when I've been interviewed by Facebook and Amazon, they're much more heavy on those computer science topics. Do you learn the concepts of programming before learning JavaScript, or do you jump right into learning language? I'm a little different because I was in a computer science program, but I wouldn't say I ever really learned the concepts of programming. Would you recommend CEU program courses at university? I don't know what CEU is. a CEU. What books do you recommend for those starting out? I don't recommend books. I recommend courses and building projects when you're actually trying to learn to code. Yeah, it's about that full stack Wix life. Look forward to Monday's Dolan video, part 2. If you get hired for 12-month contracts work, do you have to fulfill it, or can you just leave? You get a better offer, you're stuck. You probably just leave. I've never worked contract role, but typically you can just leave. Yeah. What's my schedule like lately? I wake up, I have 1 to 2 hours in the morning. I spend an hour working on checking emails, answering emails, doing YouTube stuff, responding to comments. So I spend probably about 30 minutes actually on YouTube stuff in the morning, and then from there I go and I'll watch about a 30-minute video, and then I'll watch about 30 minutes of Udemy. After that, I go to work from about 8:30 to 5:30, and then I come home. I watch a little bit of YouTube, do about 30 minutes of studying, not as much as I'd like. Then I go to bed, do it again. Have you seen a job that requires an applicant not have a CS degree? It never hurts. Yeah, it's always a CS degree preferred or CF degree required. Does that mean that you have to have it? No. Does it help? Absolutely. Absolutely. Can I take engineered truth in a fight? Not right now. I'm out of shape, guys. I know you see this. You say that's a handsome fucking man right there. I mean, ladies, I know, gentlemen, you might consider it, but contrary to popular belief, I am not in the best shape. Also, Matt trained in fucking jiu-jitsu for a while, so he probably wrecked me. Oh no, careful, kitty. We got a sensitive microphone. Oh, it will help in every situation. A computer science degree versus no computer science degree will help in every single situation. Now, whether it's the best for you, is up for debate. How much money do I make? Well, is it rude to say how much money I make? Do you guys think I should answer that question? I mean, I don't have a. All right, I'll tell you this. I gave you a little taste. All right. I'll give you a taste. So this year, by the end of the year, with YouTube and everything else, I will be in 6 figures. So that includes salary, includes YouTube. The bulk of that is clearly my income, but there's a decent amount that is YouTube. There's a decent amount that is investments. So not a decent amount. YouTube is the other side. So between YouTube and the career, I will be in the low 6 figures. How much is YouTube? It's just so deducting it and find out. Now, put this in perspective. I have 1 year, 8 months experience as a developer, not counting my internship and not counting my technology trainer. Dude, there's just like shit in my water. I must have grabbed the dirtiest cup. So, yeah. I don't have. So here's the thing, guys. I don't have any issue saying it. But I've been told by developers who are fans of the channel that I shouldn't say it. And these are people I respect. So that's my only hesitation with it. How much my cat makes? Not very much. The cats make an equal amount to what April makes. She ain't got no jobs. I have to whisper that. I don't need her coming in here and bitch slapping me on the live stream. Oh shit. Whew. I'm old timer, 18 months, right? What do I invest in right now? I'm just saving money, but I did have some cryptos I invested in. I ain't making any money right now off those cryptos. I'll tell you that much. What's more important is how much money you make. I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say there, Ryan Woodward. You're in your 30s, right? I am 30 exactly. What do I think about Bootstrap? Am I the only one who thinks it's producing ugly, redundant code? Bootstrap's just for CSS, really. So I use it all the time for the column grid system, but I'm going to try and use CSS grid more moving forward. Something I need to get better with. What's the reason? Part of it is to protect yourself for negotiations. Part of it is sometimes when you talk about, because I make good money, especially for where I am in my career, and it's only going to get better. I make more money than the average family in the United States. The average family makes $55,000 in the United States. I alone make more money than that, and significantly more. Money is not a concern of mine anymore. I'd like to make more money because I can't do all the things I want to do, and who doesn't want more money, right? But sometimes when you talk about money, people take it the wrong way. That's just the truth of the matter, right? Does the essential air diffuser? Yeah, it kind of calms me down, relaxes me a little bit. When do I feel it's time to start freelance work? I've done some freelance work for my old work, stuff like that. How do you keep pushing forward? You got to find what makes you happy. And when it stops making you happy, you got to find a different way. Find something else. Hey, Zazan, I don't mind. I don't mind an occasional joke at Matt's expense, but you have to understand, Matt and I have been boys for 20 years. So, after the third or fourth engineered truth joke, I'm probably going to put you on a timeout, man. So just chill out. He's not here, man. If you want to talk shit to Matt, he's got his channel. He'll respond to you. He'll tell you to suck his dick or something, or just block you. So just throwing that out there. What YouTube software do you use? Also, one of the reasons I'm not investing right now is I'm saving money in the bank to buy a house. That's something that is a consideration, and you need to have a certain amount of money sitting to do that. So, what is the difference between map and for each in JavaScript? Map returns a brand new array with values altered. For each just iterates through array. What YouTube software do you use to make your video? I use Adobe Premiere. Do you ever get tired of coding? No, I get tired of not coding more than that, if that makes sense. I get tired of the realistic aspects of being a developer, the stand-ups, the meetings, the having to talk to non-developers. Those are the things I get tired of. But the coding aspect, no, man. Just leave me and my code alone, and my people, the devs, man. Not to say that I don't like people who aren't developers or anything like that, but that would be where I would more so lose my shit. Electrium, I'll check it out. Do you only allow people you know to add you on Facebook, or could I add you too? You can add me if you want. I don't publicly shoot my thing out there, but I do have a Facebook group called Code Tech and Caffeine, and people seem to find me and add me. I have like 300-400 people, and you guys are crazy as shit. I have to unfollow half of you because you're posting crazy shit on my feed. I was like, I don't need this in my life. I don't block you, but I do unfollow you guys all the time. If I was just getting started, what would I do? I'd go into blockchain, partly because there's such high demand and the money is better. It's something like pays 15% more than the average job at the same point in your career, and better benefits. Where's Matt? I believe he's in the Philippines or Panama or somewhere. He was just at a conference. If I donate $100, what would you do? Answer my question. Yes, I would answer your question for $100 with it. But here's the thing, Fresh Boy Meso. Everyone who says something like that is a broke 5-year-old and never has $100 to donate. I guess you know what I would do? I would be stunned. That's what I would be, because I expect you to be a 7-year-old on a keyboard, 13-year-old, because you're in all caps. You got 7 exclamation points. So that shit ain't gonna happen because you're broke. You ain't got no money. No one has ever done it. He's like, well, I was gonna do this. Like that's it's the same thing. You ever, like, as a kid, was like your brother or your sister is being a dick, and they're like, well, if you weren't, such a baby, I was gonna give you the popsicle or whatever. Same thing. Some shit children do. Mac or PC? I use PC. If I couldn't code, what would I do instead? I'd probably do something that requires a computer that I could do anywhere in the world and that I could do for myself. Do I know C? No. Yes, most browsers support CSS grid, excuse me. LNVNZVZuYsTtgNAUijacKhCngnRXdadqTD. I enjoyed it when I was doing the React one. I regret not finishing it. I did get a job in Angular, so I had to change my thing, change my study habits and what I needed to accomplish. So there's a reason for it, but I did like it. What's the communication like between someone who doesn't understand coding like a client versus in your work area? For the most part, it's pretty fine. A little bit of hand holding, a little bit of explanation, but I'm sure they say the same thing. Like, these devs just don't get business requirements. These devs don't understand how this, So you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes. So I get it. But part of being a developer is having good communication skills and be able to communicate why this is a large thing, how we can communicate this, and why. Like, I'll give you a very basic example. We have a component library where we build components that we are going to reuse in multiple projects. So they asked me to change the color of the component. And it was a time-sensitive thing. I said, yes, but I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's going to take 2 hours to change that color from the standard blue to green. And there's a reason for it, not because I'm being lazy or anything, because we all know CSS, we can change color. But when we're to do things the right way, sometimes we not just change the color. this component had default colors. Now what we're going to do is, as a developer, now we have this requirement. Instead of just going and changing this to green, what we're now going to do is create a theme property that applies CSS classes dynamically to get the objective they want while still writing reusable code. And so it's things like that where you just have to say, look, let me tell you why. I'm going to make this so that if you come back to me in 3 hours and say, I want to change the whole style of it, and I want to do this, this, and that, and I don't want it green anymore, I want it to be yellow, I can easily do that, and it can be different in multiple applications, and it's not going to break. It's going to be backwards compatible. So you have these little things, and sometimes you have to explain that. And sometimes it's very easy to jump to conclusions as to what is easy, what is hard, especially if you're not a technical person or you don't know it. So good communication is key in every role. It's also very key when you're dealing with people who aren't devs and who are devs. So I live in Michigan. It sucks to have a better chance of landing a job. Self-taught where tech businesses are, such as Tampa, where you are. There's not that many tech businesses in Tampa. Or is it more difficult to get their job? So I came from Los Angeles. There's a ton of competition. Anywhere else seems a lot easier. Do I miss California? I miss Mexican food. I might miss my mom and my dad a bit at times. Yeah. Did YouTube help you make dev friends? Oh yeah, definitely. I talked with Kristen, Ricky, Eric on a semi-regular basis. Traversity Media on occasion. Brad, Simple Programmer. So sort of the YouTubers out in the world. Where can I learn blockchain programming? Udemy. What games do you make? I don't make any games. I'm not familiar with how Rails set it up. I'm more so talking about Angular components and doing that. How long did it take me to get the grasp to basics of JavaScript? Maybe 6 months. I got moolah. You ain't got shit, fresh boy. You broke, son. We all know it. It's all right, dude. Anyone who says I got moolah, now I think you're like 70. You're 70 over here thinking you're gonna ball hard with your social security check. Moolah. Oh man. How important is to learn Photoshop as front-end developer? Not very. It's more of a UI UX thing. If you use CS script, what do you do for creating menus and other components? I don't know, man. I don't have all the answers. I'd figure it out. Most difficult part of your job, other than dealing with people, is dealing with unrealistic deadlines. How do I get better at CSS? You focus on it, you practice on it, you take courses on design, you build things, you learn, you put active effort into it. If you got a great offer for React, would you consider the offer? Yeah, I would. Did Matt get any Spotify? I don't know what you're talking about. Is it stupid to cater your education to a specific company? Yes. Hi, Dylan. Can I get a job knowing but not proficient HTML, CSS, JavaScript? No. I mean, you can. Is it going to be hard? Yeah. Is it going to feel near impossible? Probably. You're probably going to need to pick up Git. You're probably going to need to pick up Angular or React. You're going to need to just start building some projects. That'd be my advice. I'm located in the Tampa area. What do you think on C? I think you need to do C sharp. Front-end devs don't use HTML, CSS. No, you still use HTML, CSS, but you're not always worried about UI and making pixel perfect designs and things like that. That's more of the UI UX web design sort of field. Not always, but usually. All right, guys. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. This is our weekend live stream. I appreciate y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize for the earlier technical difficulties. It has been an experience. I'm going to go have some dinner, spend a little time with the missus, and I hope you guys are, as I am someone currently at my point in my career, struggling to have the same dedication that that I had before I was a developer. I'm doing 1 to 2 hours a day. I want to be doing 3 to 4. I told myself I would work every day for 5 years. I'm not working as hard as I want. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on. And I hope that whatever it is you are trying to solve, you are harsh with yourself and you're trying to move forward and accomplish what it is that you want and working hard at it to accomplish that. So I appreciate it, guys. That's a little bit what's on my mind. See you next time. Bye.